Tom Hanks was having a quiet dinner at a small Italian restaurant when he overheard three waiters whispering about losing their jobs. What started as Tom offering to help with their rent money turned into the most unexpected labor uprising in restaurant history. By morning, Tom had accidentally become the leader of a movement that would shut down half of Beverly Hills and teach him that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can trigger the biggest changes. March 7, 2006. Da Silvano's was the kind of family-owned Italian restaurant that Hollywood had forgotten. No velvet ropes, no paparazzi, just authentic food served by people who genuinely cared about their craft. Tom had been coming here for 15 years, always requesting the same corner table where he could eat in peace without being recognized by tourists. Tonight felt different though. The usual warmth and energy that made Da Silvano's special seemed muted. The waitstaff moved with worried expressions, and Tom noticed several hushed conversations happening near the kitchen. Something was clearly wrong in this place that had always felt like a refuge from the chaos of his celebrity life. Tom was halfway through his osso buco when he couldn't help but overhear three servers talking at a nearby station. Their voices were low, but the restaurant was quiet enough that their words carried clearly to his table. "I don't know how I'm going to tell Maria," one of them was saying. "She's 8 months pregnant, and now this." "We all knew this was coming," replied another. "Ever since the new owners took over, they've been looking for excuses to clean house." The third server, an older man Tom recognized as Giuseppe, who had been serving him for years, sounded defeated. 32 years I've worked here. 32 years, and they're replacing all of us with kids who'll work for minimum wage." Tom felt his appetite disappear as he realized what was happening. Tom had always prided himself on treating service workers with respect, but he'd never really thought about their lives beyond the restaurant walls. Now he was learning that Giuseppe, who always remembered exactly how Tom liked his pasta, was about to lose the job that had supported his family for 3 decades. Unable to concentrate on his meal, Tom signaled Giuseppe over to his table. "Giuseppe, is everything all right? You and the other servers seem upset tonight." Giuseppe's professional smile flickered for just a moment. "Oh, Mr. Hanks, we don't want to bother you with our troubles. Is there something wrong with your dinner? The dinner is perfect as always, but I couldn't help overhearing. Are you losing your jobs?" Giuseppe looked around nervously, then leaned in slightly. "The restaurant was sold last month to a corporate group. They want to modernize operations and reduce labor costs. Tomorrow is our last day." Tom felt a surge of anger. "All of you? The entire waitstaff? Everyone except the manager? They're bringing in their own people next week. Younger, cheaper, no benefits, no experience required." Tom made a decision that would change everything. "Giuseppe, how many of you are losing your jobs?" 12 servers, 4 kitchen staff, 2 bartenders. "Most of us have families, Mr. Hanks. Some have been here longer than I have." Tom did quick math in his head. 18 families suddenly without income, in one of the most expensive cities in America. What kind of severance are they giving you? Giuseppe's laugh was bitter. 2 weeks' pay. That's it. After 32 years of service. Tom felt something crystallize inside him. This wasn't just about unfair business practices. This was about human beings being treated like disposable equipment. "Giuseppe, I want you to gather everyone together after the restaurant closes. All 18 people who are losing their jobs. I have an idea, Mr. Hanks. That's very kind, but we couldn't possibly. Giuseppe, trust me on this. Just get everyone together." At midnight, 18 nervous restaurant workers gathered to hear Tom's proposal. The restaurant was closed, chairs stacked on tables, but the kitchen lights remained on as Tom addressed the assembled group. Looking at their faces, some young, some old, all worried about their futures, Tom felt the weight of responsibility. "First, I want you all to know how sorry I am that this is happening to you. You've created something special here, and it's not right that you're being thrown away like yesterday's newspaper." Maria, the pregnant server, spoke up. "Mr. Hanks, it's kind of you to care, but there's nothing anyone can do. The new owners have lawyers, contracts, corporate backing. Maybe there is something we can do." Tom replied. "What if you didn't have to look for new jobs? What if you could work together as a team, doing what you already do best?" The room fell silent. Giuseppe finally asked, "What do you mean?" "I mean, what if I helped you open your own restaurant? All of you as partners." The room erupted in confused voices. "Mr. Hanks, we appreciate the thought, but restaurants cost millions to open. said Carlos, one of the kitchen staff. And we don't know anything about running a business, added another server. Tom raised his hand for quiet. Let me worry about the startup costs. What I need to know is, do you believe in what you do? Do you think the way you've been treating customers and working together is worth preserving? Giuseppe wiped his eyes. Mr. Hanks, these people are like my family. We've worked together for years, through good times and bad. We know each other's children. We cover each other's shifts when someone is sick. That doesn't exist in corporate restaurants. Then that's what we're really saving, Tom said. Not just jobs, but a way of treating people, both workers and customers, like human beings. But Tom was about to discover that word travels fast in Beverly Hills. The next morning, news of Tom's plan leaked to the entertainment press. By noon, the story had exploded across social media. Tom Hanks saves fired restaurant workers. The Da Silvano's parking lot was surrounded by reporters, and the corporate owners were fielding angry calls from customers threatening boycotts. Tom's phone rang continuously with calls from his publicist, his agent, and studio executives worried about him getting involved in labor disputes. But the call that mattered most came from Giuseppe. Mr. Hanks, something incredible is happening. Other restaurants are calling us. Workers from all over Beverly Hills want to know about our cooperative idea. Tom was intrigued. What do you mean? The Bel Air Country Club just laid off their entire catering staff to hire a cheaper company. The French Bistro on Rodeo Drive fired 6 servers last week for asking about health insurance. It's happening everywhere, and workers are angry. Tom realized he had accidentally sparked something much bigger. That afternoon, Tom found himself in an impromptu meeting with restaurant workers from across Beverly Hills. Word had spread through the service industry network faster than wildfire. Servers, cooks, bartenders, and busboys were gathering to discuss the idea of worker-owned restaurants. This could be a real movement, said Elena, a bartender from a high-end hotel. We know how to do the work. We know what customers want. The only thing we don't have is capital and business knowledge. Tom looked around the room at dozens of hard-working people who had been taking care of Hollywood's elite for years, only to be discarded when corporate profits demanded it. What if we made this bigger than one restaurant? What if we created a network of worker-owned establishments that supported each other? The energy in the room was electric. These weren't protesters or radicals. They were skilled professionals who wanted dignity in their work and security for their families. But the corporate response was swift and harsh. Within 48 hours, several major restaurant chains and hotel groups had issued statements condemning outside agitation in the service industry. Some businesses announced they would blacklist any worker who participated in unauthorized organizing activities. The pressure on Tom was intense. His agents warned that studios might not want to work with an actor who was stirring up labor unrest. Some entertainment industry executives suggested he was biting the hand that feeds him by challenging the service industry that catered to Hollywood events. But Tom had seen something in that room full of workers that reminded him why he'd become an actor in the first place. The power of people coming together to tell a story that mattered. I've made 30 movies about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, Tom told a reporter. Now I'm watching it happen in real life. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Steven Spielberg called Tom personally. Tom, I heard about what you're doing with the restaurant workers. I want to help. Steven, I don't want this to become a celebrity cause. These people need real solutions, not publicity stunts. I agree completely. But I've been thinking about this and I have an idea. What if we didn't just help them open one restaurant? What if we created a model that other groups of workers could replicate? Steven's proposal was brilliant. Establish a foundation that provided both startup capital and business training to groups of service workers who wanted to form cooperatives. The foundation would be funded by entertainment industry figures but run by the workers themselves. We call it the Working Together Foundation, Steven explained. We provide the money and expertise to get them started, but they own and operate everything. 6 months later, the first worker-owned restaurant opened, Da Famiglia, Italian for the family, opened its doors in September 2006. All 18 original Da Silvano's workers were equal partners, sharing both profits and decision-making. Giuseppe served as general manager, but major decisions were made democratically. The opening night was magical. Customers who had been coming to Da Silvano's for years lined up to support the workers they'd grown to know and trust. Tom was there not as a celebrity guest but as someone who'd invested in his friend's dream. "This isn't just a restaurant," Giuseppe said during the opening ceremony. "This is proof that workers don't have to be disposable. We can take care of each other and our customers." The ripple effects exceeded everyone's expectations. Within 2 years, the Working Together Foundation had helped establish 12 worker-owned restaurants, 2 catering companies and a housekeeping cooperative. Each business was profitable, and worker satisfaction was dramatically higher than in traditionally managed establishments. More importantly, the movement had inspired similar efforts in other cities. Service workers in New York, San Francisco, and Chicago were forming their own cooperatives, using the model Tom and his partners had developed. The corporate restaurant industry fought back with lobbying efforts and legal challenges, but the worker-owned establishments continued to thrive because they offered something corporations couldn't: genuine care for both workers and customers. Maria's baby became a symbol of the movement's success. Maria, the pregnant server from that first meeting, gave birth to a healthy daughter 3 months after Da Familia opened. Because the restaurant was worker-owned, she received full paid maternity leave, something that would have been impossible in a corporate establishment. "My daughter will grow up knowing that working people don't have to accept whatever scraps they're offered," Maria said. "She'll know that we can create our own opportunities." Tom attended the baby's christening, not as a Hollywood star but as a member of the extended family that Da Familia had become. The long-term impact changed how Hollywood treated service workers. The success of worker-owned establishments forced other restaurants and hotels to improve their treatment of employees. Several major chains instituted better benefits and job security to compete with the cooperatives for skilled workers. More importantly, the entertainment industry began to notice and respect the people who had been invisible for so long. Award shows started recognizing exemplary service workers. Studios began using worker-owned caterers for their events. 10 years later, Tom reflected on that night at Da Silvano's. "I thought I was just helping some friends keep their jobs," Tom said at the Working Together Foundation's 10th anniversary celebration. "I had no idea we were starting a revolution." Giuseppe, now in his 70s but still managing Da Familia, introduced Tom that night. "This man didn't just give us money. He gave us something more valuable: the belief that our work has dignity and our dreams matter." The movement continues to grow today. The Working Together Foundation has helped establish over 200 worker-owned businesses across America, employing more than 3,000 people. The model has been studied by economists and replicated internationally. But for Tom, the real measure of success isn't in numbers. It's in the faces of workers who no longer live in fear of arbitrary firings, who have health insurance for their families, and who take pride in businesses they truly own. That quiet dinner that changed everything. Tom still eats at Da Familia regularly, always at the same corner table. But now, instead of dining alone, he's usually surrounded by the extended family of workers, their children, and customers who've become friends. "Sometimes the most important roles we play aren't in movies," Tom often says. "Sometimes they happen when we simply decide that other people's lives matter as much as our own." The night Tom Hanks accidentally started a revolution proved that one person's willingness to listen and act can change entire industries. It showed that Hollywood stars are at their most powerful not when they're on screen, but when they use their influence to lift up the people who make their success possible.